Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
That's right. You have entered
Warning.
the propaganda report.
Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
You've already entered the propaganda report. And I am your host, Brad Binkley. Let me know if there's anything going on with the audio in the chats, please, as you guys always do. It's very helpful. Happy Friday evening, June 12th. I am your host again, Brad Binkley, coming to you from the Propaganda Report studios in downtown Atlanta, where, believe it or not, the temperature in this office is 50 degrees hotter than it is outside. So if I'm profusely sweating, it's because there's a war with the thermostat going on. Forget Iran and Israel, Palestine and Israel. There's a war over the thermostat. Right now, I'm losing, guys. We have a very exciting, thrown together, low expectation show for you this evening, which is okay because, as I mentioned on my last show, my birthday was earlier this week and I deserve a little leeway, which I don't ask for very often. Also, your donations, if you're so inclined to help keep the show going. You can find all the links to how you can help donate to the show in my bio on X. My handle on X is @FreedomActRadio. You can tip on the live streams on Rumble and YouTube. You can subscribe to the Propaganda Report Locals page at propreport.locals.com or the Patreon page at patreon.com/Propaganda Report. That is back up after getting hacked, by the way. Was able to get that back. What you get with those subscriptions is you get the audio version of this show without the ads. I remove the ads for subscribers, and you also get the subscriber-only show that I do with Sam Tripoli and Austin Picard, a weekly conspiracy deep dive. Apparently having some problems with Instagram again. Instagram has been having some problems lately with the stream. I'm going to take a look at it, see if it's still going. And it's not going at all. What's the point? What's the new Zuckerberg movie? We get the trailer for it, and all of a sudden, a Meta Zuckerberg product, it no longer works with the stream. What's the point of it? They don't tell you what's wrong with it. An unexpected problem with the stream on Instagram. Try creating a new Instagram stream. Well, we're in the middle of a show. Who cares? Who cares? Get rid of it. Goodbye, Instagram. It was just another tab clogging up the memory on my computer anyway. Okay. Back to the platforms that don't have any problems. As I was saying, donate to the show if you can. If you can't donate to the show or you're not ready to yet and you're listening on audio only, let the ads play through. We don't get anything if you skip the ads. Comparative to radio, when we were doing 3 hours of radio back in the day, you were getting 90 minutes of show and you were getting 90 minutes of dick pill ads for boomers. What you get on the audio stream, if you're listening on your audio platform, is you get maybe 5 to 6 minutes of, at minimum, an hour show, usually an hour and a half, sometimes 2 to 3 hours. Far less. Just let them play through if you can, or leave a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice and a comment that warms my heart. Your comments are very motivating to me, and thank you to everyone who has done that. I try and feature those on my Instagram page sometimes and read them occasionally on my more organized days, but I do read those, and I'm very grateful for them. So, also, if you want to do a one-time donation, you can do that at paypal.com or paypal.me/Brad Binkley. Let's get to the show real quick. I mentioned this briefly. World Cup is here, started today around the world. It's also here in Atlanta, and there's viewing parties and a little bit of chaos going on. First game isn't until Monday here in Atlanta. The Saudis are playing in Atlanta, where homosexuality is illegal. sometimes punishable by death over there in Saudi Arabia, which is ironic because the month of June, when the Saudis will be playing here and some of their fans wandering the streets of Atlanta, also happens to be Pride Month. So they will be sharing the same street. Perhaps some of the Saudis stumble their way over to the LGBTQ gay bat signal crosswalk over there in Midtown, and we see what happens. Nothing, hopefully. Going to be an interesting cultural experience. Going to do some man on the street stuff. If there's any questions you guys would like to see some of the fans of these teams asked, then hit me up in the chats, hit me up on X, and let me know what you want to know. Democratic Republic of Congo is going to be there. They are the epicenter of Ebola right now, we're told. Also, number 1 ranked in rape in the world, so they have that going for them. But some of them will be here, and we have Spain is going to be here. Who else? Uzbekistan? I don't know. Whatever you know about these countries and you want to hear them asked, message me, comment, and maybe we'll ask them some of these questions. Also, another major sporting event, a lot of sporting events going on right now. The New York Knicks are on the brink of a NBA championship. Fans are fighting and killing each other, apparently. Don't kill each other over the NBA or any sport. You don't even know the players. You know the jerseys. You're cheering for the uniforms. Don't kill people because they like one city's uniform better than yours, which is apparently a story that happened. I don't know who killed who. Doesn't matter. Don't do it. The most obnoxious part of this NBA Finals is, of course, all the celebrities sitting on the front row of the Knicks games in New York. You have Ben Stiller. You have that Timothy Chalamet, who looks like he's 12, who's dating, what's her name, the Kardashian, who looks like she's 40. It's a really strange couple, but whatever rubs your boat. Isn't that the saying, whatever rubs your boat? Whatever rubs your floating boat, floats your rubbing boat. And then you have, Larry David is kind of funny on the sidelines. Taylor Swift is a little bit off-putting because she clearly knows nothing about basketball because all of the shirts she made her friends wear are just Knicks puns that have nothing to do with basketball. So that's neither here nor there. Also, the UFC at the White House this upcoming Sunday, they have built an octagon on the south lawn of the White House. Trump is obviously going to be there. It's in his backyard. 14 fighters will attempt to bludgeon each other to death into oblivion in front of the president and 4,000 other live audience members who will boo them relentlessly if they just try and wrestle instead of beating each other's face off. I've been to one of these before. If there's any wrestling whatsoever, the boo birds come out. They want to see blood, and blood is coming to the south lawn of the White House. Bread and circuses have never been more global. You used to have to go to the Coliseum. Now the Coliseum comes to you live streaming. I think Trump should be both Bruce Buffer, he should announce it, and he should also be the referee for every single match. He should just get to determine based on absolutely nothing who, I like this guy better, it doesn't matter. The guy's face is just knocked off, cauliflower ears. I like him better. He should have ultimate decision-making, and it should have nothing to do with the fight if he doesn't want it to. I think we should go all the way there. A factor in this fight is, or these fights, is it's going to be outside. So usually they're indoors. This is outside. And it's going to be 90 degrees with the humidity, with a 55% chance of rain and possibility of lightning. And they said they'll be stopping the fights if it lightens. Can you imagine you're in the middle of a furious final round and it's close, and they're like, we got to pause for 30 minutes for lightning. This has the potential to be a disaster. I think it's already going to be a little ridiculous anyway. They should have all of the countries that are at war with each other should pick a fighter or two, because Israel's at war with Palestine. Is that still going on? They don't talk about it. I think it is. They should have to have like 2 fighters, one that goes up against Palestine, another that goes up against Iran. Obviously, Russia, Ukraine guys fight. Every country chooses a fighter, and we settle this in the octagon on the South Lawn of the White House. And that's it. We end all of the wars in the world in the octagon. Choose your fighter. Let's add some real stakes other than cauliflower ear and a not so great salary that these guys are paid for getting their faces beaten in. And you meet some of these guys in there after they've retired, and they're not all there, some of them. If you are a former UFC fighter and you're listening to the show, I'm obviously not talking about you. I'm just talking about the ones that don't listen to the show that I've met. It's a brutal sport. There should be stakes. We should end all wars. Okay, on to the subject of the day. I am sick and tired of the UFO Psyop, but it is hitting us in the face right now. It's hit a fever pitch, actually. Today, Friday, on the news dump day on Friday, where they try and bury stuff, but it's kind of in your face, probably because they're marketing. Everybody's marketing everybody's thing. Specifically, Spielberg's Disclosure Day, which came out today. It's in theaters today. Not streaming on demand. So unlike the other recent UFO documentaries and revelations we've all been privy to, you're going to have to get up off the couch and go pay $20 to get in, $30 for popcorn, $5,000 for a drink, whatever. You're going to have to go to the cinema, which nobody goes to anymore, to consume this dramatized version of alien propaganda. Spielberg and his PR team, as well as the United States government, have been doing everything in their power to make sure that this, as well as some say Operation Bluebeam, some just call it regular disclosure that the government's doing, they're both working to make sure each other's project are a box office hit. Now, are they in collusion, or are they just newsjacking? They're probably colluding together on it. Because all of these people stand to benefit. They're all profiting from it. They're all using it for various agendas. But this movie comes out on the same day as, of course, the movie already had the date that it was going to come out. On that same date, the government releases the third batch of UFO files on the same day. And so you have Spielberg doing interviews and people who are government insiders who are second and third hand sources talking about Spielberg's movie and comparing his movie that they got an advance ticket to. All these UFO people got to see the movie early. So they can then come back and talk about this UFO drop the government does. Look at these new videos, some of which are they're videos that are digital, they're AI videos based on descriptions that people gave. It says it on the screen. You'll see in a second. That's not how they described it. They called them digital versions of it. It's so hot in here. They just turned the AC down again, I swear to God. I went out right before this show started, and I cranked that AC down. And somebody went out there and cranked it right back up. It's unbelievable. I blame Steven Spielberg and the Department of War. What's up, Anna? Oh, you wearing the shirt? I love this shirt from the Third Eye Carnival in Nashville last year. That's a badass shirt, actually. D. Hoppy says maybe Otto will come down during a lightning storm at the White House tomorrow. Maybe, yeah. Maybe a UFO. Otto. Sorry, my screen's a little far away. A UFO comes down so the lightning strikes the octagon. One of those 5 different breeds of aliens that we've been told about: the insectoids, the plasmoids, which they've just added, the grays, the reptilians, and the 7-foot tall Swedish guys. That's just one of them is just a 7-foot tall Swedish guy. I saw this guy giving an interview. I didn't even see where he was going. I should have, but he was talking about, you look at these ancient bones that the Smithsonian and other museums have, and you look at them, and I was there with a friend, the guy said, and he goes, my friend goes, isn't that a penguin? And I said, no, it's not a penguin, because it's 5 feet tall, or it's much taller than an actual penguin. And then he showed a picture side by side. He goes, penguins today look like this, and they're like little tiny penguins. Penguins back then look like this, and they're giant penguins. And everything looks similar based on what this guy said. And then he goes, then they put on screen the 7-foot tall Swedish alien. That's why the 7-foot tall Swedish alien is 7 feet tall, because they're aliens from the past. I'm not above any of these theories. I am above the lack of evidence we're getting from them. I feel insulted by the lack of evidence we're getting from them. I should have got the tank. Yeah, Steve makes good shirts. I need to get the tank this year. I need to find out when they told me they're going to do it in September before. I need to get with him and see if that's still the case, because I hope they're still doing it. The Third Eye Carnival, by the way, AM Wake Up. Great show. Good time. If you guys are in the Tennessee area, hopefully there's going to be another meetup. We did a show in a barn during the middle of a lightning storm, and there was no UFC fighting going on at the time. Back to the Disclosure Day rollout. So the Department of War, they bring those third batch out the same day. And so Spielberg is doing his part to market all of this, market all sides of it. He's doing all these interviews where he's creating controversy. He's doing controversy marketing to sell tickets is what I think. But what people who get really pissed off about it think is to destroy Christianity. Maybe both. Maybe he looked at it and he said, this is going to cause the most controversy. Because he said things on CBS News this morning, a couple days ago, where he implied that his movie might make some Christians question their faith. Just Christians. Didn't mention any other religion. Just Christians to question their faith. Here's some of what he had to say. Sorry, here it is. Why did he pick just Christians? Because that's going to be the audience watching that he's going to be able to trigger the most. It's going to get the most attention. It's a PR stunt. Here's Spielberg on CBS this morning.
If this truth were just known overnight, if the government announced, yes, we have been keeping this from you since 1947, that would mess up a lot of people. And the movie also takes the position of the church. What does this do to the fundamental beliefs that many of us have? And, is God our God only on this planet? Or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even developing life?
All right, let's bring in.
That was just part of what he said. That's been a debate that's been going on since long before any of us were born. That's not a new thought. That's not a new thing that's been discussed. That's been a subject of conversation in conspiracy circles and beyond, in religious circles, for long before any of us were born. And they act like that's something new. And he also, let me see if I can pull up his full quote here. El Hombre says, it seems they're following the Iron Mountain reports to the letter. Yeah, those are interesting reports too. The reports from Iron Mountain. It's people will always try and discount stuff like that as, oh, stuff like that's a hoax. But when you read it, it's just techniques and things that you've actually seen play out, Well, if it's a hoax, it's one that was pretty prescient in what it predicted. So he also said, they've been keeping it from us from 1947. Movie takes a position of the church. Yeah. Okay, I don't have his full quote here, but he goes on in that interview. I should have pulled the full quote. I thought that had more in it. That quote sparked all of this discussion among preachers, priests, on social media, in newsrooms about, is it going to cause Christians to question their faith? What's it going to do to Christianity? Now, this is the agenda-setting theory in action right here, where they latch on to this thing. Now, maybe they're given an assignment to talk about it because it's part of this. We're getting attention to this because that's the agenda that's been set down through these newsrooms. Or it's just people newsjacking. They're seeing what's getting the most attention. They're trying to jump on board with it. So some inadvertently spreading propaganda, others on purpose. But the only reason people are acting like this is new or crazy is because these news reporters are acting as though it's new or crazy. Oh my God. And it's all racing past the premise that is yet to be proven. It's racing to these discussions, which has reached social media en masse, not starting with this movie. That movie has been being promoted alongside this rollout of the UFO stuff for quite some time now, probably like a year at least. It's been the demons versus aliens argument, which all of these arguments, which is what this stuff is designed to do, and they have different goals they're trying to accomplish. Pumping up that bottom line and selling tickets for this movie is one. Getting people interested in this bullshit alien disclosure rollout by the government is another. It all depends. This aliens versus demons premise, the idea that his movie is going to rock people's faith to its core, which he doesn't even say that. The newsrooms take that and then they take it further as though he said it. It all depends, it depends on the presumption that his movie is going to prove anything. This is a fictional movie. This is not a documentary. This is not going to be evidence. There's not going to be aliens speaking to us. There's no proof of anything here, but for that movie to do anything that all these people in the media are acting like it does, that merits these discussions about aliens versus demons, it all depends on this assertion that his movie is in any way related to reality. It's a fictional movie. All his movie is going to be, I haven't seen it, I've watched the trailers, and I read a little bit about the story. It's going to be a dramatization, a lot more well-funded dramatization that is a lot more thrilling and engaging of the bullshit documentaries we've seen that are free, the bullshit testimony from the autistic guy who is the main source for all of this, who has admittedly seen none of the things that he claims are true. He's seen none of them. He is a secondhand, usually third-hand source at best, to someone who saw a blip on a radar. They never talk about how DARPA, I play the video all the time, the woman from Georgia Tech, can create blips on a radar that look like anything they want you to think it is. So wiping all of that out as any sort of evidence when we know that technology exists. That's the main evidence. The other main evidence are second, third, and fourth-hand sources. Let us talk to the alien. Let us see the body. Give us something. We don't ever get anything. All his movie is going to be is a more emotionally engaging, like I said, well-funded dramatization of all the boring bullshit that these autistic people who haven't seen anything themselves have been telling us very assertively. that the news media has been saying, this stuff is true. Jesse Waters, holy cow, there's 4 alien races. Then they slip in the middle of these reports. We haven't confirmed any of this. Let's cut to an old guy in a sweater with glasses. And he's like, oh yeah, there's 4 races. I haven't seen any of them myself. Give me somebody who's seen something. It's all bullshit. And I believe in aliens. I don't believe any of this bullshit. But I do believe in aliens. But all of this idea that it's going to rock Christianity to its core is fucking bullshit. It is all designed to sell tickets and maybe put that seed of an idea in people's heads and then get people who want to get engagement on social media because everybody wants to suck the dick of that algo. Everybody loves sucking that algo off, man. Everybody loves sucking that algo. It's hard to take some people who I like seriously, honestly. Like people I know, sometimes it's hard for me to take them seriously because all they do is suck the dick of that algo all the fucking time. And I get it. I get that's how they're pumping up their bottom line. But it's so disingenuous. This whole aliens versus demons. I understand that debate. I do. And that's a valid one to have. But people are having this debate and they're fighting with each other. They're losing friendships. I see people just screaming at each other sometimes. I've seen it in person actually too. All based on the idea that any of this stuff we're being told is real. None of it has been proven. How about what this does is it creates this division over that directs people away from the questions they should be asking. How about a firsthand source? How about evidence of anything? How about show me one of these crafts we've found? How about show me one of these alien? How about show me absolutely anything? But people race past all of that. And in the conspiracy community especially, they want us to look dumb. They want us to leap to conclusions because we beat them during COVID. We were better than them. And they need to get their credibility back. And not all of the main news networks are doing that. Some of them are actually asking decent questions. CNN is trying to be serious again. They're winning people back. At the same time, they're trying to make all of us look stupid. We have to be better than them. It's so hot in here. Jesus Christ. Who turned the heat down? This is crazy. It's like 90 degrees in Atlanta. And because people are worried about their audio and the buzz, they're turning the air conditioning off. Blows my mind. Hold on. I got to turn my fan on. This is ridiculous. Algorithms are dudes with giant dicks. Well, yeah. Oh, that's right. These are the algos. Yeah, algorithms are not dudes with P. Diddy dicks, okay? No, they're not dudes with button dicks. I have to say, that's a win for white guys right there. The P. Diddy dick. All these black guys have been riding that stereotype for so long, when secretly, some of them had a Diddy dick. It's good to break these stereotypes occasionally, and Diddy did us all a service there. I'm gonna be shirtless by the end of the show with the temperature in this building. This is unbelievable. Oh, the holograms too is another interesting angle of it. I think the theories are interesting to discuss and think about. I think the 4-dimensional stuff and the 5th-dimensional stuff and the idea that there's could be beings from the past that I don't rule out any of that stuff. I just don't think I don't think any of the people really who are propagating that stuff to us, I don't think they believe any of it. I think they're laughing at people. The way that they talk about it is insulting. The way Jesse Waters it's just, you have Jesse Waters, you have Sean Hannity. I mean, these are the same people that used to mock this stuff. Used to mock the people who talked about it. Now they're front rolling this stuff out. It's insulting. And they're doing it in coordination with this film. There's no way there's not coordination here. There's no way you don't see, oh, I can benefit off of this, so can you. Maybe we drop some of this stuff at the same time. We both achieve what our agendas are, The same, and you know what Spielberg said in one of his interviews? He talked about how the deep state's covering it up. Spielberg believes in the deep state. Didn't liberals used to have to oppose the idea of that? Now, whatever you want to define the deep state as, of course there's going to be. It's just people who are unelected who've been in government for a long time. I think that's a very obvious thing. But that term deep state was one that liberals considered to be right-wing extremists back in the day. But now Spielberg, because he is, the same day as the Department of War, his movie comes out. Crock is shit, man. And loved my episode about the black ass and button dicks. Thank you. That's a very unique compliment that I will cherish for a very long time. Yeah, Andy, button dicks, at least I ain't got that problem. I'll keep my shirt on. Don't worry about it. I'll keep it on, Andy. Diddy. And those Diddy, I wasn't trying to even look for those. I was just trying to find an article, and they just populated into my feed on X. Ombre says the Christians are at war with Gnostics. Is David Icke a Gnostic? Or what is David Icke? I'm guessing he's a Gnostic. Is that right? They believe they are Luciferians. Everything I don't understand is demonic type of. Yeah, I don't like those arguments. I don't like the everything I don't understand is demonic arguments. That, to me, that's not an argument. That's a way to end a conversation and make the person you're arguing against the bad guy or your enemy. And it stifles any type of. If we're trying to get out of the cave collectively, and I think there's lots of different layers to the cave, Plato's cave, the everything is demonic argument is going to prevent us from going anywhere. You think weird how the only people who have seen the aliens are yeah, I know. Yeah, they're all spooks. Oh, by the way, yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. On this whole propaganda front where everybody's profiting off of it. In one way or another. Right in line with that, of this demon versus alien argument, is this guy who goes on the Sean Ryan podcast, BG. Sean Ryan, who was a CIA and Blackwater contractor, and it is the podcast that just came out of nowhere and is huge, that every single, if you're part of the Psyop, you're going to be interviewed by this Sean Ryan guy. I mean, the most obvious op any of us have seen in the past couple years. He interviews this guy named, what's his name? He is he does exorcisms. He's a Catholic priest. Okay. His name is Father Dan Rehill, a Roman Catholic priest and exorcist who was on the Sean Ryan show earlier this week, right at the same time as the rollout of batch 3. Why do we got to do it in batches? Why are we doing batches? Why the breadcrumbs? Give it to us all at once. Give us that big D all at once of the UFO files, guys. Just stringing us along all at the same time as the movie comes out. And they're all going on the same shows. And Chris Cuomo is like, oh my God, plasmoids. I'm in shock. Plasmoids. Insectus. Oh my God, this is crazy. There's the response. The responses aren't, well, tell me why you believe the source who made you believe this. Can you give us... No, the responses by the journalists are always, oh my God, insectoids. Oh my fucking God. That's the same response. Oh my God! Oh, if you're Diddy, whatever. Here's what Father Rehill, here's what this guy's worried that if you go see the movie, perhaps demons have attached to it and you'll be vulnerable to possession. And seeing as he is a priest, maybe he's right. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Here he is, Father Rahel. Look at him. There he is.
The movie itself, I'm not saying this is what was done, but this could be done. The movie could be consecrated to Satan, and demons can be attached to the movie. This used to happen with heavy metal bands. Big rock bands would consecrate their albums to Satan, and even have black masses to attach demons to the people who would listen to the music. That I learned from Father John Carapi, who used to be multimillionaire in LA and was invited to some of these things. So he saw it firsthand witness. But they could do that with a movie, that demons would attach, demons of unbelief, demons of fear, demons of...
What? So that's one that caught me. Demons of unbelief. That's an interesting way to portray someone who might not believe in the faith that you believe in. Maybe they're even on the path to. I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way. Demons of unbelief. What people who come to Christianity, I've known many, and some of you have too, and some of you, I'm sure, are Christians who have come to find Christ. It was a journey. And someone like this to be like demons of unbelief, that to me is not going to help somebody who's on that journey. I don't know. Maybe it'll scare some people. That to me is something that's going to maybe push them back a little. You're a demon. You've been affected by this demon of unbelief if you don't just join, like, not even trying to. It's what we talked about in the comments a moment ago. Anybody who doesn't agree with me is a demon, demonic. But this guy is an exorcist, so I shouldn't question him. It's my mistake.
That I learned from Father John Carapi, who used to be...
John Carapi? You say John Carapi?
To attach demons to the people who would listen to the music. That I learned from Father John Carapi, who used to be multimillionaire in LA and was invited to some of these things. So he saw it firsthand witness.
So his firsthand witness, I'm sorry, I have to take this in again. I didn't notice that the first time. Is he telling us that... I'm not saying that there aren't demonic forces that exist. There aren't forces that infect people in ways that cause them to get in a state of possession of what I don't know, and commit acts that are awful. Or there are people that don't do witchcraft, these blood rituals. There definitely is. I mean, there definitely is. It's been proven. There's historical evidence of this. I'm not saying that. I'm just taken aback again that I didn't even recognize that even this guy is giving us a secondhand source of what he's saying about this movie potentially creating demonic possession. Dr. John Carapi. It's not even...
The movie itself, I'm not saying this is what was done, but this could be done. The movie could be consecrated to Satan, and demons can be attached to the movie. This used to happen with heavy metal bands. Big rock bands would consecrate their albums to Satan, and even have black masses to attach demons to the people who would listen to the music. That I learned from Father John Carapi, who used to be multimillionaire in LA and was invited to some of these things.
So wait a minute, what was he invited to? What, you don't have to be a multimillionaire in LA to know that music can capture people. What kind of sourcing is that? He's trying to provide this evidence. You said, yeah, yeah, I was into metal. Yeah, music especially can make us go crazy in a good way and a bad way. It can pump us up. It can change our moods. We can capture rhythm, and we can learn words without unconsciously. It's definitely a powerful tool for brainwashing. as are other forms of media. But like, I don't even understand this guy. So I think there's different ways of looking at that. You can call it a demonic possession. You can classify it as brainwashing, maybe a little bit of both, maybe a little bit of exploiting what we know about the human brain and the way we learn things and the way our emotions work. It could be a little bit of all of those. But for this guy to be like, no, music can really attach demonic entities to it, and I know this because this multimillionaire in Los Angeles told me about it, because that's just a weird way to back up something that everybody knows. Everybody knows music can have a powerful effect on people, especially if you get people in crowds and it's the right kind of music. Hitler used to play music out. He put this type of music outside in Germany back during World War II, specifically to agitate people, to change the frequencies, to make them, ready to fight and just be angry all the time. This is something that's been known for a very long time. And this guy's like, no, I know this is true because of this multimillionaire. It's just a weird, it makes me think he's a complete bullshitter, is what it makes me think.
And demons can be attached to the movie. This used to happen with heavy metal bands. Big rock bands would consecrate their albums to Satan, and even have black masses to attach demons to the people who would listen to the music. That I learned from Father John Carapi, who used to be, multimillionaire in L.A. and was invited to some of these things. So he saw it firsthand.
He was invited to what, a concert?
But they could do that with a movie.
He was invited to a concert. This multimillionaire I know was invited to a concert. Andy says, I love to play the guitar. The heavier the better, but music is magic. Depends on intentions. I agree with that. And Jack says, it's hilarious, Taylor Swift makes middle-aged white women have really bad opinions. Yes, she does.
Demons would attach, demons of unbelief, demons of fear, demons of terror would attach to people and shake their faith, so that might be one reason to not go to the movie.
So I don't know what question he was asked. I need to go look at the full podcast here. He's answering this question as though he asked something, him feel like he needed to find some sort of demonic reason for people not to go, because it's like he's searching. Maybe he believes some of this stuff, but he's definitely responding to something that made him feel like he needed to say, yeah, maybe it is possessed demonically.
I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying that could be done. They could put a curse over the film that all who watch it would be have demons provoke them.
So putting a curse over the film, they could, who they is, I don't know, put a curse over the film so that all who watch it will have demons that provoke them. Yeah, I want to find that question by Sean Ryan, the former CIA and Blackwater contractor who is part of every psyop.
It could happen. We don't. When a new discovery appears to challenge the assumptions of a culture, it's possible that the worldview begins to crumble. But the Catholic should never be in danger of that, because Jesus said, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away.
Yeah, I need to find more. Not a shot at Catholicism, but I don't know who that guy is. I don't know enough about that guy. I know enough about Sean Ryan. The hierarchy of enslaving you equals they, says Anna. Yeah. Taylor Swift is definitely Taylor Swift is a demon. Taylor Swift is a middle-aged white woman. Yeah. That was the idea. Yeah. Yeah, he's speaking bullshit is what he's doing. Yeah, frequency can affect you, and music can agitate you in a good way or a bad way. Absolutely. So can any I mean, anything that enters our ears can, but especially music. This Sean Ryan guy is all over X promoting the demons versus aliens thing too, which again, I don't care if people, whatever people's arguments are about that, that's fine. The arguments about that, I never heard one of them in my life until like a year ago, probably less than a year ago, when this rollout of the UFOs came out and it was put through the agenda setting theory into the public consciousness. And yet the premise, as I said earlier, that any of the things they're showing us has any evidence whatsoever, which it does not, was accepted. Racing past the cell. What Scott Adams used to say. How did he phrase it? You know, I don't remember how he phrased it, but it's, you get people to accept something that hasn't been proven yet, and then they start making arguments based on this thing being true that has no actual evidence of being true. And nobody asks the questions because they're too busy fighting and working on that engagement. All right. So now that we see what they're all doing, all the fear and the division they're trying to create with it, they're milking so much division and so much bullshit and profit out of this, out of nothing. They've shown us nothing. Most of what they've shown us was already public anyway. It's just like the Epstein stuff. But let's look and see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to be proven to be a fool because the third batch came out. So let's take a look at what the third batch of UFO files entails and how it's being reported. Because it's being reported differently in an interesting way that you'll see. Starting here with NBC News. There we go. Pentagon releases the third batch. Just release it all at once.
Today released the third batch of declassified files related to unidentified anomalous phenomena, more commonly known as UFOs. The 72 newly released files date from the 1940s to this year and include materials from the FBI, CIA, Department of Defense, and NASA. They include multiple videos taken by eyewitnesses like this.
The video they're showing, maybe she's going to describe it.
This one you're looking at showing what appears to be glowing red orb-like objects
behind a
in
tree
the sky.
in a distance.
In a statement, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said in part, quote,
I've seen objects like that. I could make an object like that.
These files, hidden behind classifications, have long fueled justified speculation, and it's time the American people see it for themselves. He went on to say the release was part of the Trump administration's commitment to unprecedented transparency.
And that's what I've been, they never do this without saying that. That's what this is about. This is about this branding of, we're the most transparent administration ever. And every single one of these Trump, members of his administration, they always say that. That is the primary theme of it. It's not the commitment to the Trump's administration telling you the truth about UFOs and the existence of aliens, possibly. That's not what it is. It's never been the promise. Promise has been this idea of being the most transparent administration, with that transparency being focused on releasing a bunch of documents related to JFK that everybody already knew, related to Epstein that was already public, none of which was new, like literally none of which was new. I released most of it 10 years ago. And UFOs, which some new video accounts, but none of the information is new. It's all information that was ridiculed before. So we're transparent because we're releasing things that everybody already knew, but we found in a safe in the FBI room or wherever. It's an illusion of transparency It's we're being transparent on the surface without actually being transparent is what it is.
Joining us now is NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, what do these newly released videos, what do they show us? I know you're just going through them all, but what do we see?
Yeah, so one thing that I've been struck by in going through these, Kate, is what you just showed there, the video of those two red orbs. More and more of the videos in this release, or this batch of documents and videos, show red orbs than the previous two releases. Another thing that was really striking is more of the videos in this one are taken on iPhones. There's a lot more recent video than we've seen.
So is that, notice the way they present that. That's what all this news is. It's, in the past, it would be, well, there's no credibility to these videos because they were captured on iPhones, and iPhones do this pixelation thing where it makes, like, they would have all these reasons to make it sound ridiculous, but just the tone is different because the agenda is different, and now it's like, what's really unique is it is captured on iPhones. And all of a sudden, the thing that would have been a source of ridicule is now a source of credibility. No one believes these things except for boomers. Boomers, and I would say some young people, I don't know what generation it is, but some people in their 20s, I'd say, from my experiences, about half and half. Some completely disbelieve it. Others, it's like their first experience with conspiracies, and they're all about it. So that's where the grandkids and the grandparents come together in that sense. The jabbed ones. Jake says, the Sean Ryan Show is sponsored by Black Rifle Coffee. Yeah. So it's the lambs to the slaughter for the ones who are fooled now. So is it the lambs to the slaughter for the ones who are fooled? I don't know what it is. I'm not, like, I think part of it is a credibility thing. I think part of it is trying to win credibility back to the mainstream. I think that's a major part of it. And I think they're going in a lot of different ways about it. Yeah, who could take Pete Hegseth seriously? I can't. Pete Eggsbreast, I think Hegseth, who is his own social media videos, but his oh yeah, he uses AI for his own social media videos. Yeah, that's right. Who are the 1,300 people who like this video? That's a question I ask all the time, Anna. I see these videos that have all these likes and views. Some of them have more likes and shares than they do views. And that makes me think about a story last week that came out about how the internet is now over 50% bot activity. Which is probably more than that, but actually it is more than that. Because if the internet is 50% bot activity, if the bots are good enough and they seem real enough on like X or Facebook, other people will see the bot activity and they want to jump on the bandwagon, and real people become the bots. And so the bot talking point becomes indistinguishable from the ones that real people are doing. So the bots and the real people have merged, and it's difficult to tell. People can buy these views for this stuff. There's a lot of people that do that. I read comments on some of these videos sometimes, and I'm just like, there's no way this is a real person. No real person would ever say any of these things. I've never heard some of the comments and videos in real life. I mean, I would be embarrassed to ever say some of the things that people say in the comments of some of these NBC, CNN, or big influencer videos. It's just, it almost has to be like AI bots training, trying to become more real, trying to become a real boy.
Seen in the previous two, this release or this batch of documents and videos.
I know you're just going through them all, but what do we see?
Look how they always act so excited. It's just so exciting. And you just go.
Yeah, so one thing that
This cross-eyed bitch here. I'm a little cross-eyed, so I can do that. But look at this.
Been struck by in going through these, Kate, is what you just showed there, the video of those two red orbs. More and more of the videos in this release or this
Is this Kash Patel as a white blonde woman? Is Kash Patel wearing a white blonde 5-minute mask here?
One thing that I've been struck by in going through these, Kate, is what you just showed there, the video of those two red orbs. More and more of the videos in this release or this batch of documents and videos show red orbs than the previous two releases.
God.
Another thing that was really striking is more of the videos in this one are taken on iPhones. There's a lot more recent video than we've seen in the previous two, which included a lot more video from U.S. military aircraft. So it's just grainier and darker, whereas you can see here, you can make out colors in some cases.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at those. They look like those floating lanterns that people do at a Christmas parade.
These more recent ones. There you go again. Some more of these red orbs that we've seen in these videos. There also includes more eyewitness interviews and testimony that are provided by the CIA and the FBI in these. And what's striking about that is, as opposed to the ones that we've seen in the past releases that include U.S. military documents, videos. There also includes more eyewitness interviews and testimony that are provided by the CIA and the FBI in these. And what's striking about that is, as opposed to the ones that we've seen in the past releases that include U.S. military documents, they at times they identify the individuals who are giving these testimonies as being highly credible in their testimonies.
Wait. What did she just say there? I'm sorry to get into the weeds on this, but this is what they do. That last sentence and the last two sentences, what did she just say? She said, what's striking about this? So let's start. Everything to follow is supposed to be striking. Holy shit, that's striking. What seemed to follow to me seemed to be nothing. Framed as striking. Let's listen to that again. Tell me if I'm wrong and you guys find what she presents here to be striking. I personally was not struck. Anna says, how you know people aren't bots is meeting them in real life. Come to the Third Eye Carnival. That's exactly right. The live events are fantastic and they're refreshing and I've not gone to a live event or done a live event here that has not been a rewarding experience every single time. Now let's see what is so striking again.
That we've seen in these videos. There also includes more eyewitness interviews and testimony that are provided by the CIA and the FBI in these. And what's striking about that is,
what's striking?
Opposed to the ones that we've seen in the past releases that include U.S. military documents, they at times they identify the individuals who are giving these
At times they identify the individuals.
As being highly credible in their testimony.
Okay,
so again,
so they don't identify the individuals. You notice what she did there? She said, what's striking is at times they identify the individuals, and she paused there a little bit. So, oh my God, they actually say the names? No. They identify the individuals as being highly credible. Oh, so they tell us the unnamed people are highly credible. That's what's striking, is they say they're not just anonymous. They're anonymous and credible. It's like when Jake Tapper goes, credibly accused by an anonymous source.
And it's very.
I mean, this trickery they do
that include
is
U.S.
insulting.
military documents are provided by the CIA. Opposed to the ones that we've seen in the past releases. At times they identify the individuals who are giving these testimonies as being highly credible in their testimony. So again, it's very similar to the past releases, but we are seeing nuance.
Except this time they identify the anonymous sources as being highly credible, and that a couple of them were captured on cell phones, modern cell phones. Holy shit. Is it demons or is it aliens?
They're just interesting to go through.
Yeah,
they?
I'm sure it is.
Are they,
So
you
let us know
dumb
what else
bitch? You. And look, I don't discriminate. I call men dumb bitches too when they lie to you. Okay? I'm not discriminating. I'm just saying these liars are dumb bitches. Men or women? Those are two dumb bitches. Go fuck yourself. That's insulting. Highly credible. Highly credible. And is not a bot. Very true. You flew to Iowa one crazy day, and she picked you up out of nowhere. Were you at the Third Eye Carnival, Andy? I think you were, if I remember. Or I'm misremembering. Yeah. What's crazy? Who are these people? That's right. Yeah. Who are these people? And so this is NBC News. These are the top national news leaders doing this too. Trying to treat this stuff as serious. Now let's look at another one. So she showed some of those, and I want to show you what TMZ did. This shows you that they don't give a shit. I mean, we know that anyway. I'm first going to show you what Face the Nation showed. And then I'm going to show you how the same thing was portrayed differently by TMZ to get clicks. Now, this is Face the Nation that showed all 6 of the videos of the orange things in the sky. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I think it could be anything. So if it's recent, if it's a cell phone video, like the woman said, I used to see these weird drones in the sky all the time, and I looked it up, and there was all these drone tests going on at night, and these drone tests, because I was like, is that an alien? What is it? It was, the ones I'm thinking about was an experiment that was going on where they were just putting these drones in the sky that looked kind of like that would just hover around the city. And this was a Georgia Tech experiment near where I live. And the idea was that they would be able to get to emergency situations like fires quicker. And I don't know if they have water sprays on them, but it was a test of surveilling for emergencies. That's what they said anyway. Maybe they're surveilling for other things. Atlanta is one of the most surveilled cities in the country. Nevertheless, what could have looked like aliens like that to a lot of people, even to me at first, well, I mean, I didn't think it was aliens. I hoped it was. I wanted to believe. But I just looked up. I was like, it's probably a drones, and my location at night experiment. I had a sense of what, if you think about it, you can figure it out. You can figure some of this stuff out if you sit and you just kind of think about it for a second. And then the stories came up about a test, and I found exactly what it was. I found the actual press release for it. And it looked a lot like that. I don't know that that's what this is. I don't know that this is not aliens. But this is the main video going around as the wild proof of aliens. And these are all silent, and they show some more. So here's what they do at the end of this. I'm not going to play all of this. It's a lot of the same. But what they transition to here, not in a gender way, just in a video way, is this. So this is that same one. In the trees. We don't. Who took it? Who took the video? Why can't we talk to the person who took the video? Why is that a problem? Why can't we get a first-hand source for anything? So it goes to this. Instead of talking to maybe the first-hand source, on screen what you see, it says, digital recreation based on federal agent's description of incident. I don't know who that federal agent is because they don't tell us the name of it. I think we all would have known this is some sort of AI video. We would have, but turns out not everybody would have, and I'll show you in a second. I'm not sure. I tried to find the source video. I'm guessing that this label at the bottom of it that says digital recreation based on federal agents' description of the incident was probably on the source video. I can't say that for sure. Of things they can do, I can't imagine Face the Nation adding something like that if it wasn't there. Maybe I'm wrong. But the other ones I saw had the same thing. Not all of the other ones. There's one that didn't. I haven't seen the actual one from the Department of War. I tried to find it in their vomiting of stuff. But this is a digital recreation of the same thing we just saw in the trees without the trees. And it just shows these orbs, and I think it's the thing in the trees. This is all AI stuff. So now they're now showing evidence of things. They're proving things through AI, I guess maybe not AI, through digital recreations. Now let me show you what TMZ did. TMZ has this post, new stunning UFO-related videos released by Pentagon, the Department of War. So it presents it as though the Department of War released this video that they shared. And it's that video we just watched, only that video we just watched. And here's their version of it. Oh, it's the same digital video, except there's no context on the bottom of it that says that this is a digital recreation of what was described by the federal agent. So this is presented as though it were a real video of some sort of UAP released by the Department of War, as opposed to what it is, a digital recreation of some anonymous person's description who worked for the federal government. They took that off on purpose because they're full of shit and all they care about is engagement. As full of shit as the other ones are, at least those motherfuckers left that on. I mean, this is bullshit. And then you read the comments down here. Rock. The man with a flashlight thinks they think we're kids. No, I agree with that. What in God's name is this? I looked down. I didn't comment on it. Maybe I should have. But nobody was like, hey, what about that? What about this being a digital recreation? And I noticed this with a lot of these UFO prominent people like Dr. Greer, is his presentation started to become almost entirely, here's an AI image depicting a crash retrieval of a craft. Here's an AI image depicting one of the non-human intelligent beings that were captured when it was injured. And it was just AI generated image after AI generated image. How about the real shit, dude? It's so insulting. Don't go see that movie in the theaters. Unless you're going to make a mockery of it and film it. It's just all a scam. Here's what this one dude. So they roll this guy out who gets paid to do this, by the way. Avi Loeb. Atlanta, the most surveillance state. This exposed. Yeah, there's these cameras are everywhere now. They're at every stoplight. I think I would too, and that's exactly why. Anna says I'd prefer the aliens to the government. That's exactly why they would never actually tell us that aliens are real. Because we'd be like, oh shit, you're not in charge. Unless they were able to be like, we've subdued the aliens, here they are. They work in my administration. I'll fire them if I have to. Only if they're at a subordinate position would they ever reveal aliens to us. They want to pump up the military-industrial complex by striking fear about technology that exists and connecting it to aliens, and it all coincides with the Iran war. It's all a big scam. And I believe in aliens, by the way. Let me reiterate that. I just don't believe their story about aliens. I believe they went back and read all the conspiracy books and they said, let's use this. Let's use this conspiracy energy that exists. They're not the only ones that have done that. There's a lot of people that have exploited that by coming out of nowhere to be the champion of the conspiracy theorist. I won't even go into that because it'll probably divide some of us listening. I am Ronan the Accuser. Who cares about the influencer? Information. Look at the information. And they want everything to be emotional. They want everything to be demonic, as you guys mentioned in the chats earlier, because they don't want people having conversations. I would love to see an alien bitch slap Trump and Hegseth. I mean, I'd love to see him bitch slap everybody in Congress. Maybe a Diddy version tape, but it's aliens and like, you know, I don't want to see it, but you know, Lindsey Graham. Well, you know, Lindsey Graham would probably like that, so I shouldn't. That's probably his greatest wish, is to be bottomed out by a 7-foot-tall Swedish alien. How does that dude keep winning election? What's wrong with the other people running in South Carolina that he keeps winning elections? All right, so they roll this guy out. So this Avi Loeb guy, by the way, used to be. I hope they're sexy aliens too. I mean, please, if you're going to do an alien psyop on us, make them sexy. Just make them sexy. Give us sexy green aliens. Take the black-white dynamic out of it. Take all the traditional race division out of it. Give us a new color of sexy. This guy used to be totally anti the alien thing. But now that he is the expert, that was a Harvard professor, and he worked for that aerial phenomena program that got eliminated, he's getting paid to come be an expert spokesperson on all the networks. And so now he humors it. But when you listen to what he says, and when you listen to what most of these people say, and even what Trump says, and what Hegseth and all of them, like I said, they focus on transparency. They never say, yeah, aliens. They actually kind of laugh at that. But people look past that because the news media takes the stuff that is juicy and sensational and they amp that up. And they don't actually focus on the words that the officials are saying, which is never, it's aliens. It's never that. They humor it.
Anomalous Phenomena Files, or
Red sign,
UAP.
yeah.
So some of the new videos are recent and appear to be taken by eyewitnesses using their smartphones instead of the combat camera footage that we.
So there's the talking point. That's same talking point, different network. That they did not come up with that themselves. That was sent down to them. What's surprising is it's their smartphones. Same talking point.
We've seen in previous releases. Now, the newest release here.
That looks like a cursor on your computer. It looks like somebody changing the size of their mouse cursor.
Documents dating back to 1949 with a letter addressed to former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover.
Ooh.
Now let's bring in Avi Loeb. He is an astrophysicist and director of the Institute for Theory and Computation at Harvard University. I really appreciate you coming on. We're really into, all of this sort of
same feigned excitement as the other network. They're told, the production and the director of these shows tell them the same things. If you look at this stuff as fiction, as a film, not as nonfiction as they present themselves, and you will see it. A director comes on, and they say, here's what you need to, here's the emotion you need to convey. Here are the lines you need to say. That's what all of this is, and that's why we're seeing the exact same thing on a different network.
Extraterrestrial talk. So you've actually been looking through the release that we got today. What stood out to you?
Well, thanks for having me. I was quite surprised. I thought
Thanks for having me. I was quite surprised.
it will be again some collection of documents, images, videos that are not really substantive in convincing us that there is something from outside of this
So his whole setup is how surprised he's about to be for nothing also.
world. But I was surprised that, in fact, there is a document, a letter written just a week ago
A letter.
by the director of the Office of All Domain Anomaly Resolution in the
Why are they showing, he says he's surprised, and they show that same video that they're telling everybody to be surprised about next to him when he's not even talking about that surprising him? That's association propaganda. It's like putting a flag behind somebody when they walk up on stage, you associate. That's exactly what this is. This is the one they want to be the most shocking for whatever reason. The smartphone image from 2023, the shocking one. It's not the grainy video. It's a smartphone one that we have the digital recreation. Oh my God, we're so... He's not even talking about that. He's talking about the letter that surprised him.
his name is convincing us that there is something from outside of this world. But I was surprised that, in fact, there is a document, a letter written just a week ago by the director of the Office of All Domain Anomaly Resolution in the Pentagon. His name is John Kozlowski, where he detailed a report about a period of 2 days in October 2023 when 6 federal law enforcement agents reported observing orbs that were launching other orbs.
So who are these? Where are they? Are they dead? Where are those 6 federal agents? Why are we not hearing from them? Why are we hearing from this guy who's talking about the federal agent? Can we not hear from the federal agents themselves?
And he describes in detail what they've seen, and the argument is that only 60% of what was observed, what was reported, can be explained in terms of flares or equipment that the U.S. possesses or other governments possess.
So why he's saying this, for those listening, it has a partially redacted document that you can't really read on there with a quote next to it. So there's context around this quote that probably changes it. That's why they pick that out and they make everything smaller. But I'm going to read the quote anyway. It had slightly translucent, shimmering white appearance with defined, and it puts in brackets, edges. So that means they didn't say that. And a milky shimmer that reflected sunlight. So that's every white dude who doesn't go outside. You know, it's every incel.
But 40% of the details cannot be explained by the special office in the Pentagon assigned to explain this. And it's not because of lack of data. The actual data is not cannot be explained by those officials. Now, in addition to that, as you mentioned, there is some historic data, historic documents. One of the historic documents goes back to the time of the Roswell crash and indicates it's a letter from the Navy to Norfolk.
Now it cuts to the letter from the Navy. You can't read the letter, but it does pull one part out of the quotes. It says, "I saw 4 beams in the sky." It's an anonymous person. And when the beams met, apparently against the mountains, a great explosion effect was to be seen. None of these reports present the context of a documented, I think it was the Air Force that did the operation, where they intentionally made someone, I think it was the 60s or something, believe that what were new technological experiments with planes led him to believe, because this guy who had been in the military, can't remember his name, some of you guys might know who I'm talking about, saw what were military experiments going on, and he thought they were aliens. And so he goes to the local Air Force base near where he lived because he was in the military, and he told them about it. And they have these documents. I did a whole show on this. I showed the documents where there was a conversation had where they decided that they were going to let this guy believe that what was military tech experiments, they were going to let him believe that it was aliens, and they were actually going to feed into that for the purpose of creating this discrediting effect around what he said and around what other people said when it comes to kind of cover up their weapons development. They didn't want the fact that they were developing this new technology to come out, so they led this guy who used to be in the military to believe that what he saw was UFOs. They fed into it. He went out, he spread the word about it. That's the challenge of it. I do believe in aliens. Again, it's always going to be difficult to determine if you feel like you have a real experience if you're not being screwed with by some sort of agency that wants you to think that for ulterior purposes.
It discusses flying discs.
Flying disc.
And you know, the official report after Roswell was that this was just a weather balloon, but they are talking about flying discs that were on a reconnaissance mission. And then there is the Colorado Springs object in 2022 that 5 soldiers at Fort Carson watched. They saw a white potato-shaped object hovering near the Cheyenne.
This guy did, like a year and a half ago, this guy didn't believe any of this. He's completely flipped because he became the expert. A potato-shaped object. Roberto says they're lying. They're laying the ground for another spending package. Yeah. Or big government department to keep getting us in debt and keep fattening the... Yeah, that's... I think you connect that with a weapons development. You get people afraid enough, and they'll say, take my tax dollars, let's develop super weapons. Boston elites are very suspicious. Yeah, this guy is kind of a Boston... I don't know where this guy's from. He's definitely a Boston elite. What does it say on his wall? Can you guys tell? I've been trying to read that. Over his left shoulder.
A mountain in perfect daylight. And it looks like this is a very reliable report. So I'm actually quite intrigued by all these reports. And I think the bottom line is that we need to figure...
They're showing an AI image. This is not a real image. That is not a real image. What the fuck are we looking at here? What is this? This is not a real image. This looks like a cartoon. It looks like a Percocet pill hovering over a fake mountain. He's like, it looks like a potato shaped over. It's very intriguing. It's a Percocet AI pill over a fake mountain. That mountain is about to be high as fuck. And then constipated tomorrow.
Figure these things out. Because
well, Avi, let me ask you about that, because there's some recent CBS News polling which suggests, look, our viewers, most Americans do believe there's extraterrestrial life out there.
Who the fuck is this guy?
We've got polling, saying that they also believe that in this one, does it exist on other planets? Sure.
Who gives a shit what people believe? I know they do, because that's how they play this game. They feed into those beliefs. But that does not affect the truth of it.
The government's releasing these documents, though, and another expert I was speaking with was saying it's all well and good for the government to release these sightings, these pictures, these images, but isn't the thing we're all looking for specific answers to what exactly they are? And if the government cannot answer that question, don't we want to know a little bit more about how they get
this guy needs to be on BritBox with that accent.
True answers?
Well, you have to understand that science in general is work in progress. Most of the time, we don't know the answers, but we are working towards the answer by
This
getting
guy looks
data,
like he's 3
getting
feet
more
tall.
evidence that will guide us towards the truth. And so what needs to be done right now is an action plan where, given those intriguing reports,
It's not intriguing.
they're not hidden from view anymore, we should engage in scientific research, putting better sensors, trying to figure out what the best data indicates. Because at the very least, if you're down to earth...
I remember now, this guy has been an advocate of putting sensors across every city that are always on. Now I remember this, I did a show on it. That are always on and have the capability of capturing something up in space, of capturing anything that might be an alien. But at the same time, the side effect is mass surveillance of everyone. Because if you have this technology that's so good, it can get anything that might cross in its path that could be some sort of speedy alien technology beyond our own physics. It can also capture the sounds and video of what's below it.
This is a matter of national security. There are strategic assets which are presumably being watched by these orbs, by these discs, whatever they are. But if, the simplest interpretation is that adversarial nations are employing them. However, it's also possible that it's something beyond this earth. And it's not a matter of...
So he doesn't believe it. So right there, that's where he reveals this guy doesn't believe any of the shit he was just feeding into. He just showed that he doesn't believe it with that line he slipped in.
Security. There are strategic assets which are presumably being watched by these orbs, by these discs, whatever they are. But if, the simplest interpretation is that adversarial nations are employing them.
That's exactly right. He said the simplest interpretations is that it's adversarials. He did this entire segment is about UFOs in outer space. And 6 minutes he's on here, and he slips that in after placating all this stuff, humoring it. And he said, the simplest explanation is adversarial, which is exactly what they're ultimately going to blame it on. And that's how you build up the military-industrial complex. They tell their hand, they reveal their hand in these subtle moments. It's like when you read these articles they put out. It's the 7 thing. So they have the headline, and they did these studies where the way people read news articles is in a 7. They read the headline, and then they scroll down the side, and they maybe pick up the very end. And so the headline often conveys the opposite of what the meat of the article actually does, but people never see the meat of the article because the meat of the article is buried in those, not the very last paragraph, but like the second to last or the third to last, where studies have shown almost nobody reads. So they have this plausible deniability where they know people are going to take away what the headline implies, which is the opposite of what is actually the truth, which they reveal in those spots of the article that statistically they know most people never read. And they do the same thing with these interviews, is go ahead and pump up the bullshit at the beginning and then slip in the truth when people have stopped watching.
However, it's also possible that it's something beyond this earth. And it's not a matter of belief. It's a matter of getting the data to lead us to the truth. And for that, we just need to engage with getting new data.
He just wants data. He just wants to watch everyone.
And interpreting the best information we have so far. And I'm
Little
happy
Nazi.
to help government do this because, I will not feel that my time is wasted since at the very least, it's a matter of improving national security. There might be some holes in our defense.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
he's not wasting his time because he's very important.
I'm happy to help government.
He's happy to help.
Do this because I
This
will not feel that my time is
egotistical-
wasted since at the very least it's a matter of improving national security.
So all he cares about,
be some-
all this guy, and I remember this guy now. He is the guy who's advocating to have these cameras that he wants to develop technology that have the most sophisticated cameras in every city that can capture anything from miles away, above and below. And I played a clip of him saying this now. It's all coming back to me. And he's so arrogant. He's like, I'm willing to help, if they're going to do this. And So he is all about the UFO transparency release because of the fear it creates around technology that we don't understand. And so he will play into the UFO stuff if that's what it takes for him to be brought in as someone who is going to be a consultant or maybe one of the primary guys on creating this ultimate security state. Not that one doesn't already exist, or surveillance state. Look at his background, by the way. I thought that was like a YouTube thing, but over his right shoulder, our left, he's got a photo of himself up above his. That's not a YouTube thing. I don't think. Maybe it's a YouTube thing on there. It might be. Maybe I'm just disliking him so strongly that I'm seeing what's not there. Nevertheless, this guy's a surveillance state guy. He just revealed that. That's it. That's the whole con. I mean, that's what that's why these people were involved. They're trying to get jobs, lucrative jobs, in this weapons development, smart security future. They know. He knows this bullshit. He is pretending, he's indulging in the, oh my God, is it, what are these things bullshit? Because he used to dismiss all of that. This guy did. This guy used to be the UAP guy. And he used to dismiss all of it, and they got rid of him. He wants back in. Yes, of course, maybe it's that, but it's probably this, and I'm happy to help. So, that's been some heavy shit. All right, we're going to do 2 quick things and get out of here on Friday. Always fun to do on Friday is the smoking gun Friday photo fun match. You can adopt a whale, but it's a scam. There are no jobs. You can adopt a whale. A whale? Can you adopt a whale? I feel like whale or orcas, they're terrorizing boats. If one needs to be adopted in exchange for not terrorizing a boat. I don't like to go on boats. I do at lakes, but there's no whales in lakes. Yeah, this guy's trying to make himself relevant again. He's doing a good job of it because he's small. He looks older. He is older. It talks like this, so his very voice makes him more credible because I must be smart because I'm talking like this. And I must have a base of research. He could say the same stuff talking like a fucking redneck. Nobody gives a shit about what he said. But he's talking like this, it doesn't mean that. Really, adopt. Yeah. Have you ever? Whales are smart, from what I understand. I see these people who have like they know whales and they know sea life. I always find that fascinating. How do you even meet one? You know, it's got to be a tough meet. You just dive in the water, you're like, hi. I do find the intelligence of sea life and other species interesting. I think we've always been led to believe that because we're the top of the food chain that everything else is dumb. I don't think that's the case at all. Here is the Friday match game. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see if we'll click on this. All right, so here it is. Here's how this works. If you guys can see that. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. It warms my heart too to see you guys, to see you in the chats, to interact. It helps me a lot, actually. And I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully in September. Okay. By the way, What a great chat for such late at night, Friday night. And it says, we love you, Brad. You make us smile. I had to say that because it's my birthday, and that comment warmed my heart. I really appreciate that. Let's do the Friday fun game. I met Anna at the Nashville, outside of Nashville, Third Eye Carnival last year. Me and Josh went down there. Tripley was there. Steve was there. T-Live was there. Macroaggressions was there. Charlie. Everybody was there. It was a blast. And it was so refreshing to get to. You know who else was there? It was, God, everybody was there. Pasta cooking his ass off, taking care of everybody was there. And I know I'm gonna leave names out, but it was a very rewarding experience, and I look forward to having another one. Now let's move on to the Smoking Guns Friday photo fun. Okay, so I was 3 out of 5 last time. These are the images that you see. For those listening only, we have a guy who looks, a guy who's just completely covered. He's like Santa Claus on meth. And then we have, I don't know how to describe this guy. He's Hispanic. He's squinting. He's got a goatee, thinning hair. Then you have what appears to be a black woman in it's not a bandana, but she's got a stack of hair and like a red bow, who looks like she don't put up with shit. Then you got a bald white guy in a NASCAR shirt who looks like he will rape your ass. And then you have a guy smiling maniacally who looks like he will chop your body up. Those are the images. The crimes we're trying to correctly pair them with are making counterfeit currency, arson, murder, driving under the influence, disturbing the peace. So I'm going to start. So driving under the influence, I'm going to say the gray-haired man or the Hispanic man. It could be the first bald guy driving under the influence. Much love to you, my man. Santa, you think Santa's the murderer? Okay. This is a tough one. Like this guy on the far right who's trying to be like the Joker's throwing me off here. Disturbing the peace. Arson. I'm going to go this guy who has the maniacal smile as arson. Murder, though. He could be the murder guy. This is one of the more difficult ones. So you think Santa's the murderer? It could be. I'm going to go the guy who's NASCAR dude. You think he's driving under the influence, Anna. So I'm wavering between NASCAR guy and squinting guy. Making counterfeit money, though. Okay. All right. I'm going to go NASCAR guy driving. I'm going to go with you on that one. I'm going to go Santa Claus disturbing the peace. Now we got murder and making counterfeit. So, making counterfeit money. I'm going to go the black chick as a murder. I'm going to go making counterfeit money. That's what I'm going with. Oh, it's 2 out of 5. So the Santa guy was making counterfeit money. The Hispanic squinter guy was murder. That guy was the killer. And I blamed it on that black woman. She was disturbing the peace. That's one I thought might be her. Driving under the influence, we were correct on that one. And arson. So the 2 bald white guys we got correct. The other ones were not correct. And ending on a positive note, dog rescued after being swept out to sea on inflatable kayak, headed towards Norway. I don't know where it's going matters. A tour boat joined the search for a dog that had floated 3 miles out to sea in a kayak. After 2 hours of searching, they spotted the inflatable boat on the horizon, but couldn't see if the pooch was still aboard. As tensions mounted, the young men captured the moment on video when they confirmed that the large black pup was safe. Bruce, the Alastanian, was playing in the waves when his owner put him in an inflatable boat to swim beside him. But a gust of wind dragged the kayak away from the shore of North Cumberland in northeast England, and Bruce was suddenly washed out to sea. His panicking owner raised the alarm, and the Coast Guard crews from a nearby town scrambled to search for him. Video of the two-man crew on Serenity Farne Island's boat shows the moment that Captain Jimmy Reed spotted the kayak floating in the North Sea. My emotions definitely got the better of me when I finally spotted Bruce inside the boat. Of course, I had a heart-wrenching fear that my dog was going to go in the water and stay there. When we actually got him on board and he knew he was safe, he knew the hard bit was over, we were both ecstatic. There's the dog. There's a photo of the guys who saved him. I wish the video was here. Bruce's owner desperately tried to swim after the boat as it was blown out to sea, but had been forced to turn back. Bruce did the right thing by turning back. Jimmy said it could have easily been a multi-casualty thing if he had kept going. When we found the boat, Lee tried to get a harness around Bruce. It slipped off and he fell in the water. Luckily, the crewmen reached down and grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and hauled him on board. He was he had hypothermia. The dog did. They wrapped him in towels.
Hello, buddy.
It doesn't show the video, though. It just shows the audio.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
All right, whatever. They saved a dog. It's a great story. I love this. I love a good dog rescuing story. Yeah, pay attention to your dog if he's in a boat and you're at sea. Also, be careful. Yeah, I thought the black chick was the killer too. I was wrong. It was a very racist decision I made there. I was torn. Yeah. I want to bring some more positive stuff in because the news is always so negative. But thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the chats on a Friday night. You guys made my evening. David, Robert, Roberto, everybody, Jake. I enjoyed it, and we'll do it again next week. You guys have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I wish you guys, I don't know what I was about to wish, like it was like a holiday. Juneteenth. I wish you guys a blessed Juneteenth. And I'll do it again in the days leading up to Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth month.